Brr, it's cold in here. There must be some toros in the atmosphere. I said brr. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where Matt and Todd watch a Netflix top 10 movie from their self-published list, and then we talk about it, and we share our thoughts and our feelings, our hopes and dreams. You all, the listeners, listen, and hopefully everyone goes home happy. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, welcome to another exciting episode. And Todd, I'm a little disappointed. I wish that I would have heard there must be some clovers in the atmosphere. Because the dirty toros stole that cheer from the clovers.
True. But the toros first introduced it to me, so gotta go with them.
Yeah. Well,
And maybe even the better cheer team. I don't know. I'd have to watch the movie again to determine that.
well, maybe that should go on our list.
I know that would make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna talk about a movie which does involve being cold. This
Yes.
movie, as we referred to on our last podcast, is called Below Zero. And something I found out at the beginning of watching this movie is that this movie is a Spanish movie.
Yes.
The original title is Bajo Cero, which means below zero. And so it's not in Spanish. It is dubbed in English, so the actors are all speaking Spanish, but English is coming out of the speakers.
Yes.
So that's a true
Whoa,
story.
wait, hold on. I watched the sub version, not the dubbed.
You watched
Isn't that
the
what-
subtitles?
Subtitles, yeah. Instead of
Dub?
I guess there's a dubbed version. I just watched whatever came on first and it happened to be the subbed.
I did the same thing, and it happened to be the dubbed.
Wow.
I don't even know
Interesting.
if we're reviewing the same movie at this
Oh
point
my
in time.
goodness. What a travesty.
As I did watch it with English subtitles on, so we were both reading along.
Yes.
I was just hearing English that didn't match up to the lips moving.
Yes. My reading was a little bit more important or else I didn't know what was going on.
Right. Well, so we watched this movie. Due to the fact that it's a Spanish movie, there's no one in it that I recognized,
Correct.
but I was happy with Luis Callejo's performance as Ramis in this
Ramis. Yes.
movie. I thought he stole the show out of all the actors that I saw. Yeah, so what's the movie about? Well, this movie, man, it is about I guess a policeman it's his first day at a new police station or whatever, and he gets assigned to do this prisoner transport. So they go to the prison and they collect all the prisoners. They put them in this pretty elaborate prison truck, which basically is like totally secure, and in the back is like individual cells that they put the prisoners in, and they've got a couple people in the truck, including our main hero person, and then you've got another police car that accompanies the truck, kind of drives in front.
Way to
So
fight
they-
back that yawn.
Yeah. So they're off to the races. They've got their prisoners all secure, and then along the way, as they're driving to this other prison, someone attacks the secure van of prisoners. They lay out some spikes on the road and end up not only taking out the car in the front, but but taking out the big prison truck itself. Um, and then through a series of events, uh, the main character cop ends up in the back with the prisoners. They're all out of their cells, and there's this guy outside who wants one specific prisoner to come out so that he can have a confrontation with
Mm-hmm.
the prisoner. And that prisoner does not want to go out, and in fact swallows the only key to to for them to get out of the back of this prison van. So the cop and all the prisoners are trapped in the back of the prison truck. So then the the guy who has attacked the prison truck, it's only one guy. He goes and changes the tire on the prison truck. Don't ask me where the tire came from. I don't know. Don't
Mm-hmm.
ask me how he elevated the truck enough to change the tire. I don't know. But he did that, and then he drives away with the truck with all the people in the back. Um, anyway, more things happen, and then they end up. The guy drives it onto um, a lake, a frozen lake, and then shoots the ice around it so that the ice will break and the truck will fall into the lake. But people get out. The main character cop, one prisoner, and the other prisoner who this guy who attacked is looking for get out. And then eventually there's this confrontation where we find out exactly why the guy attacked and wants to talk to this guy, and um, basically he wants to extract some information, and eventually we get to the point where the guy shares information. And that's the movie.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, just like the Hokey Pokey.
Mm-hmm. And it's super cold.
Yeah, it's cold the whole time.
Yes.
That's mentioned several times in the movie. So, what did you think of this, Todd?
Well, besides a little hiccups here and there of like you mentioned, the changing of the tire and stuff like that, there's a couple of things that I'm like, I don't know how we got from point A to point B here. There's a couple of hiccups like that through the movie. Outside of that, I thought this is a really good movie. It's if I have one biggest critique of the movie, and I don't think anyone's gonna really understand this unless you watch it, is I wish they had played who the guy who's attacking the transport was after a little bit closer to the chest and left it a mystery. Like you have all these prisoners and they're all questioning who is this guy after, what's going on. But you find out who he's after pretty fast after he starts attacking. But I thought there was like a missed opportunity of like maybe a little bit more of a mystery. There is a mystery because you don't know why this guy's attacking. But I feel like they could have played that suspense a little bit more. But other than that, I think this is a movie filled with really good performances. And the story might not be so tight that I think it's excellent, but I thought it was good enough to make this an enjoyable experience for me. Like, for me, I would say halfway, maybe a little bit past halfway, the movie, I kind of guessed why the guy is attacking the transport. Like I had a suspicion, and my suspicion turned out to be right enough, maybe not exact, but yeah, this movie was like kind of a breath of fresh air to me from the last couple of movies we've watched, where it's not like we've watched bad movies, but they've all been kind of similar, as far as like the suspenseful thrillers, and this one was a little bit different to me, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was it may not be the tightest movie story wise. There's definitely some hiccups that I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to ruin anything. But couple of hiccups that like I don't know how these people got this information, or how like there's information that's shared that you're like, how in the world did this person know this information? The only reason they know it is to further along the story. It wasn't really thought through. But yeah, I mean, everyone did a really good job. I thought the main guy was good. I thought Ramis is he was definitely stole the show to me. He is one of the convicts. And yeah, I mean, I think this is totally worth everyone's time. It's not the best movie you're ever going to see, but I thought it was engaging enough. I wasn't bored. I was totally along with the story the whole time. I was trying to actively guess what's happening, where we're going, who's who, and those are like the best kind of suspense stories to me, when you're so involved and you're really trying to figure out the rest of the movie before it comes. That's what really grabs me. So I definitely think if you're looking for, if you don't mind a little bit of head trauma, Ed, unfortunately there's some head trauma in this movie. But if you don't mind that, a little bit of like, I'm not going to say gore, but you definitely see people get hurt at times. But if you're looking for like a pretty good suspenseful movie where you're just like kind of trying to figure out everything, then this is totally worth your time. It's only an hour and 40 something minutes, I believe. You can apparently watch it dubbed, and I watched subbed, which I enjoyed. This is totally worth your time. So I think I like this movie a fair amount, to say the least. So, but because it's kind of like a twisty-turny movie, it's hard for me to talk about a lot of the stuff of what I absolutely loved about it, or maybe the stuff that I think were some hiccups. So once again, if you listen to our podcast and you want to know, feel free to DM me or DM the our Facebook, and I will share my full-on thoughts. But in general, I'm going to leave it with, I had a good time watching this movie. I support anyone watching this movie, and it's a nice little talking piece, I think. Like, if you're looking for a movie where you talk to people about it, or like, maybe a couple people watch it and you can sit around and talk about it afterwards, like, I think this is a good movie for that kind of scenario. So go see this movie if you haven't. I'm sure plenty of people haven't, but go see it. That's where I'm at. Matt, where are you with this Spanish movie called Below Zero?
Well, I would say we're gonna differ a fair amount on this one, Todd.
Uh-oh.
I did not enjoy this movie.
Huh.
I started watching it this afternoon, and in the middle I fell asleep. And then I woke up and rewound a little bit and watched the rest of the movie. To me, there were too many just stupid things about this movie related to the plot. And I mean, one thing is that this like secure transport decides to go without any kind of tracking or anything, like into the wilderness areas, and no one knows where it is, and no one is looking for it, and it's just out there. And then the design of the interior of the prison transport is dumb. There are individual cells that are not locked doors. They are held by the little slidey locks. Like, you flip it up, slide it over to one side, and push it down. That's how it locks. Like, that's how the prisoners were secured in their cells. And then there was like a handcuff thing. Well, anyway, the it made it possible for all the prisoners to escape pretty easily because they were not actually locked in their cells, which is a stupid design choice. You have this like tank of a truck that is made to be secure to transport prisoners, and it's not secure on the inside. So that bothered me. There's another scene where the truck itself is behind like a normal car, and that normal car cannot escape the truck. Like the truck keeps accelerating up and ramming into the normal car, and the normal car cannot escape the prison vehicle by just driving away from it because it could go faster. No, it can't do that. And then the person inexplicably drives off the road into a tree.
He gets rammed off the road into a tree.
Well, that's not how it's presented in the movie. It's like he gets rammed a few times, and then he slams on the gas. Like they show him slamming on the gas and like flying off the road into the tree.
I don't know, Matt. I think you're too used to these American movies that were made with an American prison system where we have full-on GPS everything, and maybe this country doesn't have that.
Well, maybe that's true. But anyway, there were too many things like that. Another thing is they did strip search, which include a cavity search before they go into the prison transport vehicle, and yet once they're in there, somebody pulls out a device from their cavity and is able to use it to escape their cell.
True.
So, yeah, too many inconsistencies like that for me to really enjoy this movie. I thought that the motivation of the main character for most of the movie seemed really, really strange. They do explain it at the end, and it makes a little more sense, but it seems like he wants to get information from this guy who's in the back of the van, and he could just try to ask the guy, but he won't. And anyway, he's like, you guys have to get out of the back of the van. You have to bring this guy to me or you're all going to die. So.
Yep.
Man, I'm a little coffee today.
And Yanni.
Yeah. I did have a nap earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say, you haven't fully recovered from the movie yet.
Right. So, if you agree with Todd, you should watch this movie. It's the next conversation piece. If you agree more with me, don't watch this movie. You'll fall asleep and you'll be frustrated by the plot and the holes in the plot. So.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, Matt, how many I don't know how to word this. I'm trying to make the system be maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but I'm trying to make it how many hidden butthole keys would you give this movie? From 0 to 5.
Well, on a scale of 0 to 5 in hidden butthole keys, I would give it a 1.3 out of 5. Because I did not enjoy the movie, and yeah, well, all the reasons I said. I don't think you should watch it. What about you, Todd? How many hidden butthole keys?
This might be the biggest discrepancy we've ever had.
I think
reviewing a movie, because I'm at like a 3.8. Like
okay.
There's definitely plot holes. I cannot take that away from you. But I kind of thought that some of the things that they don't have, which we're used to in America, make sense because we're not in America. And they even talk extremely heavily in the beginning of the movie about whatever the country they're in is bankrupt and has no money.
They're in Spain, by the way.
Okay, yeah. So they talk pretty heavily in the beginning of the movie about how they don't have much that they need to make safety transfers happen and stuff like that. But there's plenty of points that you made that stand, like the tire. How did he change the tire? I don't know.
Right.
You come in on the end of him changing the tire. And I'll agree with you that the design of the tank truck is not good. So, but that's where I'm at. I'm at a 3.8. There is one big problem with the movie that, again, I can't really talk about because it definitely gives away. And I really think that if they played the mystery of who that person's after, and it was kind of like a more of a whodunit movie, I think it would have played better than the way it did. Like, of just the bigger mystery of why this guy is attacking and who is he really after. And, none of the prisoners really want to fess up or anything like that. A little bit more of a mystery, I think, would have played for this movie better. But, that being said, I'm at a 3.8, and I say watch it. But if you agree with me, watch it. If you agree with Matt, don't watch it. You must choose. Alliances will be made. Friendships will be tested. Friendships will be tested.
Yes. Well, so if my math is right, that puts us at an average rating of 2.4 hidden butthole keys, and that's slightly below average, but there's a wide range of choices here between our two options.
Yeah, it's funny to me that we were so far, kind of pretty far on opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet we still came to an average rating of what we would probably rate any movie. We're typically around that range unless it either really stinks or it blows us away.
Yeah.
So, good stuff.
Well, before we wrap up, we have a new movie to watch, Todd. Get your pen and paper ready.
Pen and paper's getting ready.
We're going to be watching another Netflix film.
All right.
I'm really starting to think that they just put all their Netflix films on their top 10 movies in the U.S. today list.
Well, in fairness, we're watching them as they come out. So, for people who are really on top of Netflix and have a lot of time on their hands, which seems to be a lot of people these days, they're probably really paying attention to what's dropping on Netflix so they can watch the new stuff.
Right.
Or Netflix is padding its top 10 with its own movies. I believe either one.
Either one.
But somehow Good Burger got up there. So.
Somehow, yeah. There's been a couple old ones that got up there somehow.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're going to be watching a movie called Finding Ohana. And if I've learned anything from Lilo and Stitch, Ohana means family.
Yes.
So.
I watched 2 seconds of the preview of this movie, I think, where the guy was talking. I passed it when I was looking for Below Zero.
Uh-huh.
And it just seemed like a guy was talking about Ohana. And I was like, well, that's aptly named, I guess.
Right.
What's the tagline of this?
Well, the
movie?
tagline is a mysterious journal, a wondrous cave, a trove of treasure. For this family, adventure and the spirit of aloha go hand in hand.
Interesting.
Yes. It seems like this is more targeted at young people a little bit. Like some of the main characters are young.
There is a Netflix movie that came out a couple of weeks ago, which I keep hearing really good things about, and I'm surprised it just will not make it into the top 10. It's called Lupin, Lupin.
I thought that was a show.
Is it a show? Maybe that's why. I thought it was a movie, but I could be wrong. I just keep reading articles about how people say it's really good, but I guess I never really paid attention to whether or not it's a movie or not.
Lupin is a series.
Okay, well that makes sense then.
You can watch it.
Yes, I'll watch it on my own and not tell anyone if I liked it or not.
Indeed.
So.
Well, that will wrap up this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. We thank you for listening. Please continue to listen, and we'll continue to make these.
Also, let us know if you're Team Todd or if you're Team Matt. Let the alliances be drawn.
Indeed.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.